because we know that nutrition enhances performance. We know that nutrition has longevity. It makes us live longer. Animals, cats and dogs that are fed well, they live, they can be partners in our life for many, many more years. I just want you to think about that when you talk about yourself or when you think about yourself. So that's why we do so many challenges, you guys, is so that we can actually be a force of support during those times. So this is a new platform for us, you guys. I'm very excited to use it because I think it's going to allow us to get you content really quickly. And, really, I'm trying to engage in the platform that I engage with my clients, whether we're doing Zoom calls or in person. So when an individual comes in to see me, we do, first and foremost, a couple of forms. We do the self-assessment questionnaire, which is available there for you in the links. We'll also make sure that you have it in your email. We do the wish list worksheet, and then we start to play with what's called a request for care. So let me take you through each of those three, and then I kind of want to take you through, first I want to take you through the process or the mindset when an individual is going to engage with us in a clinical setting. So our goal is to really understand where the client is today, right now, right here. Remember, guilt is fattening. So we want to let all of the guilt and shame from the past around food, around dieting, around health and wellness, the shoulda, woulda, couldas, like right here, right now, they're gone. We learn things from our past, like health history. Anything that's meaningful or purposeful or can give us insight into what to do to help create and promote health, we want to go ahead and hold on to those things. But all the rest of it, right now, I want all of you guys to make a commitment to just kind of let it go. This is a very 2022 anyways, right? But we want to really understand, sometimes people jump right into a program and they say, okay, I'm all for it if people want to kind of put blinders on, especially we have a lot of people that jump in through the 10-day cleanse. They put blinders on, they go, look, I've got to get things under control. I've got to start feeding my metabolism. I've got to get rid of the junk in my pantry. Totally get that. I think that's great. But I still really push everyone in my clinic. In fact, it's a qualifying form. In order to qualify to be a client, you have to fill out these forms, because I feel so strongly that we need to understand kind of where you're at and have a clear definition of where we're going in order to have longevity in health and wellness. So as you guys know, I've been in clinical practice for 20 plus years, starting to date myself. And I have many clients that have been with me for 20 plus years. And that's because the act of using food as medicine, using food to ignite your metabolism, turning towards food to stimulate weight loss is a lifelong process, because everything we do to live and to be alive is sustained by the nutrients that we receive from our food. So we want to use strategic programs to stimulate the metabolism in a way that gets us closer and closer and closer to homeostasis. And as life happens, that makes us more resilient or strong in order to handle those stressors, as well as maybe doing some healing and repair of things that have been out of balance or in a disease or disease process for a long time, or even a short time. Just had a client today that recently had an automobile accident, and we were using food very strategically as medicine to help, repair and heal the body. So the self-assessment questionnaire, and I want you guys to all take a look at that. When we do our quarterly wellness assessments, or quarterly wellness webinars and health strategies, right, for you, I want to make sure that you fill out these forms 4 times a year. So in the self-assessment questionnaire, I'll show it to you guys again. You should definitely all have that link there. Grab it if you don't have it. Reach out to us if you don't have it. I want to make sure that you all have access to it. In the self-assessment questionnaire, you're going to go through and you're going to really have an open conversation with yourself. If you want to post your self-assessment questionnaire in the membership section, feel free to. We do this in our coaching with members. If any of you want to be a volunteer for any of our coaching, I'll talk about that in a minute. We do this, and we talk about this collaboratively as a group. You're welcome to post that in the membership section. Some of it's kind of intimate. We have a lot of members. You might feel comfortable about it. You might feel a little bit nervous about it. If you don't want to, maybe you could schedule time with the coach and you could go over these with them specifically. Don't forget to reach out for help. 2023 this year is all about building your dream team, right? Creating the health and the food programs and the nutrition that's going to get you to where you want to be from a health perspective. So welcome to my clinic tonight. And as we're going through the self-assessment questionnaire, there's a couple things that I want to call out about it. It's something that I usually say, maybe make yourself a nice hot cup of, peppermint or chamomile tea. Sit down, try to not have distraction or stimulus if you can, because I really want you to have the opportunity to kind of take a deep breath. It's 2023, this is January, take a deep breath and say, okay, where am I honestly at in my health and wellness? Don't stress or think about the guilt and shame of anything that you feel like you've done or partaken in or has happened to your body of the past. Today's a new day. Today's a fresh day. And in our self-assessment questionnaire, guys, we're going to fill this out and we're going to answer the yes, no, or sometimes. But one of the things that's really important is that you tell, and I'm going to say us, right? So I tell my clients that you really put down in writing some of the details. So I'm going to do the first one together. I hope you guys are doing this with me. If not, I want you to re-watch this and let's do this together, right? So in the self-assessment questionnaire, things like, is your energy low? Well, I'll use this evening for an example. I have been in clinic all day. I've actually been in 2 totally separate clinics. I was over at the university all morning, and then I was in another private clinic in the afternoon, and I started, which is nice, with a beach walk really, really early. I wanted to see the sunrise. And so right now, I'm a little bit low energy. So for me, I would say yes, because this is a self-assessment right now. And what I would say is that I feel like my energy reserves are a little bit lower right now. So normally I have kind of an abundance of energy. I'm pretty, have a very high intensity as far as from an energy perspective. Over the holidays, I had a lot of fun. It was wonderful, but I did not get as much sleep as I normally do. And my energy level, I sleep fast and furious, hard and deep, does not mean that I have to have, for me, a full 8, 9, 10 hours. But when I get disruption in it, it does affect my energy, and it affects it pretty darn quick. So I would write that note to myself, because remember, we're going to be doing this 4 times a year. And 4 times a year, I want to remind myself, but also this is an incredible tool if you are in a situation where you need to or want to partner with a doctor or a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or a neuroimmunologist. You really need to have a good record of how you're feeling and what's going on right now. So is my physical strength limited? For me, the answer would be no. I had many shoulder surgeries, as you guys know, collarbone, broke my jaw, all of these things in a car accident that I've spoken about. But I have been swimming. I have had tons of physical strength. So for me, my strength feels really good. Something that I would note, though, because it's a little bit more unique, is that for the first time since my car accident, I'm actually swimming. And so you'll see later why I want you to add these details. It's so important. And it's important, again, for many reasons. One, we want to come together and we want to make sure that we're making progress this year through 2023. It's all critical feedback, right? I want to do this every quarter, 4 times a year. I go through these sheets with my clients. I cannot tell you how many times. And then we put together like this kind of nice binder for the end of the year of, our successes, our wins. We also do a little piece of greeting so that we can kind of package it up and put it away for the year. So maybe things that you had hoped for yourself for 2022, but didn't manifest in your health. A big win for me, and that's why I'm going to put it on this, was that I started swimming, and I really hadn't been able to swim for years since my car accident. So it's a big, big win. And I want to make sure that I call this out and celebrate it. I also, and we're going to pull this all full circle in the end, I also shared that just recently when I ran in and had my labs done at the end of the year, because I had filled out my self-assessment questionnaire, my health wish list, and my request for care before I ever walked in the doors of UCLA, right? So when my doc walked in, I had so many things to share. I was so organized, and I had such an incredible and successful visit, and I got everything I could have imagined run. We were on the computer together filling things out. I'm going to go over a few more of these things to give you guys some ideas of how thorough I want you to be on your self-assessment questionnaire. Now, we are going, and you don't have to post this on the members section if you want to, I think you'd get a lot of good feedback. All my coaches are going to be on there, and maybe they can kick in some ideas or some thoughts or things. But what you can also do when you finish this out is you can go, wow, there was a big blaring glimpse of the obvious once I took a minute and talked to my body and asked it what it wanted and what it needed. And I really want to have support this year in addressing this particular issue. So let's go through a couple more, because I want to get to our other sheets together. So the other thing is, if you can buddy with somebody. So I really encourage you guys, so when we did the cruise, it was so fun because, and Sarah Strong, if you're on here, there was a couple amazing people on the cruise that came as singletons, and we buddied them up, and they shared rooms with people that before they started the cruise were complete strangers, right? But that buddy system, and it turned out to be a really positive experience. They've even spent additional time together and some holidays and stuff together. But if you can do your self-assessment questionnaire and you have a good friend, or maybe a relative, a sister or a brother, or your parents, or somebody that you can kind of talk to about this, it's really great to reflect it back and forth. So for example, do you drag yourself out of the bed in the morning? Is a great question, right? And if I were to say, I'm a no. I don't. What do they say? I want to be the kind of woman that when my feet hit the floor, the devil says, oh crap, she's up, right? I don't know how to have that transition between sleep and wake. I wake up in my full glory. So that would be a no for me. Now, what would be interesting is if I were sharing this with one of my girlfriends like Sue or Kim or Wendy or something like that, they might ask me have you always been this way? Did this happen after menopause? Did you notice a slump in this during menopause? So it's kind of good to have that dialogue with another person. And with my clients, I always ask them, well, what did you mean by that? Or what was that for you? This question, I actually skipped one above, is your physical structure what you would like? So this year I have a goal to tone my midsection a little bit. I've really been working on swimming and trying to kind of lengthen my core a little bit. And so I'm telling you all of this because I want you to be just expressive and communicative about your body and how you're feeling about it, so that you can talk to your friends, your loved ones, your family members, yourself in a kind way. And again, if you're engaging with a practitioner, that you can communicate and just start to feel really comfortable kind of talking about yourself, right? We sometimes are shy or conservative in our communication about what we really desire for our health. So for me, for 2023, I want to kind of try to lengthen my muscles. I don't do well. I've tried Pilates. It's not a good fit for my body. And we could have a whole discussion about why. I have clients that I am huge advocates for them with Pilates. That's why I decided to try swimming as a horsewoman, as a horseback rider. The majority of my life, I find that my muscles tend to shorten. And so I want to really work on my posture and my seat. So if any of you guys see me slumping, I want you to help me be accountable to the commitment that I want for myself. I want to work on my posture and lengthen my midsection. So my physical structure, I'd like to see my midsection lengthen. I'd like to feel a little bit taller when I sit. And I'd like to really tighten that belly this year. That's kind of my personal goal. And so where I'm at right now, that's a desire for me. And you'll see that when I talk about my health wish list. So do I long for a nap in the afternoon? That's not me. It used to be me, actually, before I worked very hard on my hormones. So I would write myself a note there, and I would say, back in the day when I used to have ovarian cysts and irregular periods, it was difficult for me. But for me right now, I feel really now I take Metabolism Energy and Stress Blend, and I'm very supplemented, but I feel really good throughout the day, and I sleep really well. And I complain about it. You heard in the very beginning when I don't get enough sleep. Okay, I'm going to jump to our next sheet, but I want you guys to make sure that you understand that this is how I want you filling this out. And I'm going to make a suggestion, you guys. I'd really love to see you fill it out, print it out, and put it in a binder. I want us to go through this process, and if anybody, Elin, we'll do a giveaway. We have these really cool binders that we printed out we made for the cruise. If anybody will do some kind of a giveaway, and I'll show you those binders. We'll give a couple of those away. I think we have a few left over. But create a binder. This is really important data. And this is also really important data if something goes wrong in your health. I recently had one of my very close loved ones diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And the questions that they asked and all the data that they needed from her during that very traumatic diagnosis and time, it would have been so powerful to have a notebook, an SOP, a standard operating procedure for you and your body and your wellness. So I want to see you guys. It's due on Monday when I'm gonna call it Sunday, when I do our weekly wellness check-in. I want to hear from you, and I'll put a post up, and I want you guys to post that you have completed your self-assessment questionnaire and that you've actually written some beautiful language about what's going on in your body, about what maybe doesn't feel at optimal level right now. And I want you to really review it and make sure that there's no guilt and shame language, because we left that in 2022. Okay. So this is what I did all day with my clients. It's just so, I really hit it hard in January, and it's just such a beautiful, intimate experience because, it gives you the opportunity again to just kind of lean into the curiosity. Your body never does anything by mistake, right? It's always just trying to keep you here on this earth. And so all of it is nothing but feedback, right? And the more you are sensitive and receptive to the feedback that your body gives you, and the more gentle you are in how you treat it, the quicker it's going to rebound and respond. Okay, the next one, and Elan's going to pull this up, that I take my clients through is creating your wish list worksheet. So the goal as we go through the year, just so you guys know what I'm planning, is that your wish list is going to start to become our checklist, right? We will create a protocol for progress together. And I'm going to talk about having your labs run. I believe that you should have them run at least once a year. I'm a huge advocate for twice a year. With my clients, we try to run our labs twice a year, every year. Usually we hit it around October so that we can make it, we want to make an impact. So usually somewhere like February, March, maybe April, we'll run labs. And again, then in October, so we can get all the results back, we can make a significant impact. Little announcement. So I always try to teach at least one class during all of our challenges. And I'm going to really encourage you guys to be signed up for every single challenge this year, whether you're traveling and you can only listen to part of the lectures, or you are going to be all in and you're going to be 10-day cleansing and 7-day FMDing with me. All of those are the perfect decision. But each time I'm going to do a different lecture. The January 10-day cleanse, my lecture is going to be around what labs we run and when we run them during the year. And that challenge starts, where are we? January 20th. So make sure you go to the website and you're signed up for that January cleanse challenge. Elan's going to show you right there. Good job. Sign up. New year, new me. Sign up for the challenge. We're going to have great things like we always do, emails, recipes, things of that nature. It's a great way to detox the year, let it go. But this January, I'm going to be teaching a class on labs, what labs to run, some accessory labs, how to ask for those labs, and how to create paperwork, which is called the request for care. And we're going to talk about that tonight so that you won't get the pushback that I know a lot of people experience. And you guys, like I said, my doctor is taking some time off. We've had a good rapport for many, many years. I doctor shopped And when he came in, I said, "How are you, Dr. Troy? Nice to meet you. And I wanted to let you know that we're in the interview process today. And so I've heard great things about you. I really hope we're a good fit. And I've got some great data about my body that I'm excited to share with you. And I'm also really excited to express what I'm looking for this year and what I'm looking for in a doctor. And I'm excited to get together and create requests for the care that my body deserves." And it actually turned out to be a great experience. The funny thing is I spent a lot of time with his nurse afterwards, and she asked me if I would send her these sheets, which I did, because she wants to use them with her doctor. And I said, of course. Okay, so let's talk about creating your wish list. So I put some things in there, and some things maybe feel a little spicy for some of you guys. As you guys know, I talk about just about everything. Not just about, I've talked about anything and everything. Once we close those clinic doors and I'm in there with my clients, nothing is off the table, because all of it is part of you, right? So I threw some things in there so that you guys would feel comfortable talking about them. And I want you to know that I'm comfortable talking about them. And I don't want you to disconnect from your body, because it's really hard to not have kind of mind, heart, soul, body all connected so that we can push you into this healthier space every day. So things like, I want more energy. I want to feel good all day long. I want to sleep better. I want to have sex. So we're looking at like libido, energy, sleep, things like that. So it's really important. This sheet is really important because as we go through the year, you will see, we will take this together, this health wish list, and we'll start to create a protocol for progress. So for example, if you're talking about getting rid of your anxiety, right? It's one thing, which is on the right-hand side there, about a quarter of the way down, or actually the second one from the top. Getting rid of anxiety is something that is going to take a multi-prong approach. So as we create your health wish list and we start to take that wish list, and we're going to go through a process in the first fast metabolism diet challenge in February. And that starts on February 6th. So you want to make sure you're signed up for that. So in that challenge, what I'm going to do is we're going to go through the process of taking your wish list and teaching you how to prioritize it in a way that can really help you focus your efforts for 2023. And I usually do this with my clients in about the February visit, usually the second visit that I see them. Now, maybe they don't start with me until June, maybe they don't start with me until August. I will do it usually the second time I see them. So remember, we're going to fill this out, and I'm going to be asking you on Sunday on our weekly wellness check-in. I'm going to be asking you, did you get your wish list worksheet? I have taken clients through the exercise when individuals are so overwhelmed in their health. Maybe I have a client that was recently diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, and they really couldn't kind of get in touch with what they wanted for their health. They were very traumatized by the diagnosis, and all they wanted to do was have their autoimmune disorder kind of go away. That's it. I don't want to do anything for wellness as long as if it doesn't relate to this autoimmune disorder. The problem is that we have a complex body having a very biodynamic experience. And so oftentimes our bodies heal in an order that maybe isn't ideal in your mind when you first set out. So at minimum, I want you guys to fill out that section, which gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 additional things to write down for your health wish list. I have another sheet of paper that sometimes I use in my clinic, and it has 100 lines. And when I have a client that is really overwhelmed in their health, we go through this exercise together where I actually have them fill out 100 things that they desire for their health and their wellness. Why do I do that? Because sometimes when we're stressed by the number on the scale, when we're stressed by a particular diagnosis, when we're stressed by maybe pressure from one of our physicians or a loved one to start taking a medication because we haven't gotten our cholesterol under control, we start to have a reductionistic view of our body, and we start to put a lot of pressure on our bodies to perform, right? And if we lose sight of all the amazing things that our body's doing for us and does for us every single day, that stress that we put on our body can actually slow significantly and can compound the disease process, the inflammatory process, the blood sugar process, the cholesterol manifestation in the blood process. It can really wreak havoc. So when you're creating your health wish list, this is what I say: dream big, right? I want you to write things that maybe in that back of your mind, maybe that little gremlin that talks to you when you're tired or you're stressed or you've had a bad day and tells you that things aren't possible, that you shove that out of the way. Remember, guilt and shame are gone, but that you fill this out with the hopes and dreams that you have for every single vibrant cell in your body. And if you have a difficult time filling this out on our wellness check-in, I want you to ask our team to send you the list that has 100 of them, and I want to challenge you even further to do that. So, you know, sometimes like it's very interesting to look back at this. So when I first started menopause, I started having significant hair loss. I mean, significant hair loss. And I really like having hair. I throw it back on a long clinic day like this today, but I really have always enjoyed having my hair grow really well. And it was upsetting and shocking and you know, very hard for me to go through. I actually had what they call premature ovarian failure. So I was very, very young to be going through this. And so on my health wish list, I just went, I want hair. You know, I mean, it was like that basic. And I go back and I look through these. And so what did I do? I created the H-burn at the time. I really worked strategically. I created Metabolism T4, T3. I started taking Metabolism fatty acids. I imported the raw ingredients. I was just like, you know, trying to figure this out, trying to balance my body. And now I have a lot of hair. So I was a dream big dream, honestly, because I had talked to my doctor about it. And they had just said a lot of women lose a lot of hair post-menopause. And that's just what, you know, you're going to deal with. Think about clip-ins or extensions. And I'm like, this is what I do. I don't have time to do much. I can't do that. So I want you guys just to candidly dream big, right? And we want to do is we want to say, okay, let's realize those dreams together this year. All right, guys, let's work together and let's keep things moving in a forward direction. Right now, Elin, if you can jump up a poll and let's see if so far you guys are all feeling that this is super doable for you this quarter. And that by Sunday, you guys feel like you can fill out your self-assessment and your wish list for the year. So let's see, I can't see the poll right now. Here we go. Is this making sense? So what I want to know is, do you feel good about filling out your self-assessment, that you're going to write some really amazing data, really good stuff? And do you feel like you can do this for me and for you and for us working together this year? And you can just give me a heck yes, I did it. If anybody wants to post it, you're welcome to. And we can get that all done by this Sunday, okay? So what I want you to do, you guys, is put a little time in your calendar for yourself. You know, maybe crawl into bed again with a cup of hot tea and let's get this done early in the year. The other thing that I'd like you to do, and Elin, we can poll everybody. Okay, if you did not answer yes and you answered no, then this is your homework for Sunday. Your homework for Sunday is to ask for a 1-week extension, and I want you to ask us very specifically of how we can support you in getting it done for the following Sunday. I want our whole community to have this finished, right, before January sunsets on us. Elin, I'd like to do another poll in just a second. I'd like to know who signed up for the 10-day cleanse that starts January 20th and the FMD that starts on the 6th. I don't know if you can pop that up really quick or if you need a minute or so to do that. So you guys, all of this is going to be done. It looks like we're going to do it on Sundays. It's going to be done every Sunday. I will make a post. I will do a wellness check-in, right? I want you guys to participate in that post. And I'd like to see who's signed up for the January 10-day cleanse challenge. Okay, if you guys answered yes, I am so excited and I'm so looking forward to seeing you there. If you guys answered no, I would like you to do that tonight before the end of the evening. You do not have to do the cleanse if you do not want to. Many people love it. I will be doing it, but many people sign up for our challenges to get the data, the information, the support, and to follow along, whether you're doing an I burn, an H burn, a D burn, the FMD, a soup cleanse, if you're doing the pain and inflammation protocol, it does not matter. If you put this in your calendar and you can give us 5 to 10 minutes a day to check in for your health, your wellness, your nutrition, it will make a huge impact in your success throughout the year. Okay, I'd like to, while we still have some time, I'd like to jump in and unveil kind of the third sheet and tell you why we do this and why I want you to start looking at it early in the year. Remember, for the January cleanse, you guys, we are going to be talking about what labs to run. And, we're going to talk about your basic metabolic panels. We're going to talk about CBCs. I want to help you communicate in a way to your physician so that you can have success in having those run. So, Elin, if you could pull up the request for care really quick. So the request for care, and in the member section, you can see a couple samples of this, and I even have a great video. We can post that where I fill it out with a client. The request for care is really important for you to be able to communicate to receive care. We have filled this out with individuals that were going to, individual that was going through the emergency room for a cardiovascular concern. We filled it out. My kids fill it out when they go to the doctors. I filled it out for my kids when they were little at pediatrics. I filled this out for myself before I go into the doctor's office. And it's a really, really powerful. And I'm going to give you a little bit of behind the curtain reason. So you have short visits with your practitioners, right? Don't have a lot of time. You've got to be clear, you've got to be concise, and you've got to be articulate. So there is that reason. The other thing is, if you are in any way participating in the world of insurance, health insurance, you have to provide your physician with the why you need your labs run so that they can code and bill effectively so that they can justify the lab and you can get reimbursement. So that's I'm going to give you that little behind the curtain. The other thing is, if you are not getting adequate care from your healthcare practitioner, and Dr. Jackie Fields and I did a really cool podcast on this. I mean, she's very blunt. She's like, fire them. If they're not on your team, fire them. She's very staunch in her opinion that it's a partnership and you're actually the consumer and your practitioner should be in service to you. She's very clear on that. I love that podcast. But if you put it in writing, the request is denied, and you ask the physician to put a copy in your chart and you make a note that it was denied and you have to go out and pay for it out of pocket, a lot of times there's a complaint that can be filed. And most practitioners know that, especially doctors that work in a multidisciplinary practice or in one of the larger groups. It is not good for them to get a negative review. And so I'm not saying go out and give a negative review. What I'm saying is that if you have a negative experience when you try to advocate for yourself, you need to express that to the practice and you need to express that openly. Okay, so let's go over the request for care. So as you're filling out your self-assessment questionnaire, there's going to be things that really stand out to you. And you go, wow, you know what? I'm actually dealing or having a hard time with this. And so we say, dear Dr. Blank, and I saw Dr. Choi last week. I'm having some health issues that are concerning to me. In addition to my normal labs, so you always want to lean on the fact that they have had years of education, right, in medicine, and you have had years of education in every single cell of your body. So what a great team. As long as you're aligned, you guys will be. In addition to the normal labs we'd like to run at this visit, can we please run some diagnostics so we can define what's going on with me? The reason why I'm requesting is because. And then you're going to fill out the things in your self-assessment questionnaire. Because I'm having low energy. I know I'm not getting enough sleep, but it feels like something's wrong. Or I'm having difficulty adapting to the stress that I'm under. Also, please note that there's a section in there. So this is where I tell you to say something that's interesting about your life. So please note that I have 8 business trips coming up, and I'm not sure how I'm going to balance for that. Or also, please note that in the last 6 months, I've gained 22 pounds. Or also, please note that I've been grinding my teeth every night when I sleep, and I think this is contributing to my headaches. You are going to be talking to the doctor. They're going to be asking questions. The nurse is probably going to ask you the most of the questions, right? If you don't have this articulated before you walk in, you are going to miss an amazing opportunity to actually receive service when you walk in the door. And then we're going to be working on this as we go through the year. Then because of blank, I'd like to run blank. So I'm going to give you an example. As you know, I have an autoimmune disorder called ITP. So I would say because of my ITP diagnosis, I would like to run ANA titers, sedimentation rates, CRP, high sensitivity CRP, or a lot of individuals right now are dealing with long COVID, or they just can't get their sense of taste or sense of smell. They're losing hair in handfuls, hair is breaking off and brittle. They're having headaches, body aches, fatigue, all of those kinds of things. You maybe want to look for viral reactivation. I'd like you to run my EBVs or CMV titers. Remember, the January cleanse, I'm going to be talking very specifically about labs that we run in our clinic. We run them twice a year, why we run them, how to ask for them, and then also some accessory labs. So for example, if you're perimenopausal, if you're menopausal, if you're postmenopausal, if you're on hormone replacement therapy, what labs should you regularly have? I was literally in the car going from one clinic to the next today with one of my colleagues, and she was talking to me about the fact that she is doing hormone replacement therapy pelleted. And she said, Haylie, how do you feel about that? And I said, I really feel like it's one of those things that because of the way they're administered and it's not in a cycle, that it's really important to run sex hormone binding globulin and to run a fractionated estrogen. So we're going to talk about those kinds of things, but also how to ask your doctor for it. I cannot tell you how many times I have had clients come back and they have said, I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and I went in and I tried to get my doctor to run my thyroid hormones and my ANA titers and my sedimentation rate and my CRP. And the doc said, yeah, I'm not going to do this in this visit. And I said, did you fill out a request for care? No, I didn't. We have sometimes been able to go back, send an email, fill out the request for care and say, I am so sorry, doctor. I forgot to request these in my haste, not in his haste or her haste, but in my haste, I'm so sorry. We fill out a formal request for care and the labs get run. So this is a really important process that I want to introduce to some of you. Some of you are familiar with it, but I want to introduce it to you so that we can start to unveil this throughout the year. My goal is that in the next 12 months, you become such an expert in your health and wellness, and you can celebrate so many health victories with me this year. So we've got just a few more minutes. I want to give you guys some really practical things that I want you to do. On Sunday, I'm going to be polling you. We've decided it's Sunday. It looks like you guys really feel strongly about that, and I think that's great. On Sunday, I'm going to be asking you, did you get a chance to have some conversation with your body, fill out the self-assessment questionnaire? Did you get to do your health wish list? Did you look at the request for care and start thinking about what would I ask my doctor for? Print out a bunch of copies, draft it a bunch of times. What would I ask for if I felt like I were walking in the door and I could have anything that I wanted from a healthcare perspective? I know I'm a total science geek and I get super excited when I see labs. I was at the Institute at INIM, Institute for Neuroimmune Medicine the other day, and I had a couple people come in and we were doing labs and they were teasing me because they said, when the labs come in, Haylie always gets super excited. I'm like, whoa, I can't wait to get another conversation going with the body. So I want you guys to start kind of like feeling comfortable about that. And then the other thing I want to take a few minutes to talk about is I want to make sure that you are picking the right nutrition plan at the right time for you right now. So we always kick off every month. We do a 10-day cleanse. I have clients that do the 10-day cleanse with us every single month. So they get in, 11 cleanses, and they do we do a 5-day, I think in December it is. And it is the way that they can hyper-nourish and infuse nutrition into their body. It's not complicated. They don't have to do a lot of cooking. It gives them a great opportunity to kind of cleanse the palate from sugars and maybe get caffeine and maybe a little bit of alcohol out of their system, right? So it helps to remove while hyper-nourishing and restoring. Those challenges are already scheduled for the entire year. If you want to cleanse once or twice or 4 times or 11 times this year, that is what I want you to do. But what I want all of us to do is have that time together where we say, okay, Haylie's in my schedule every month so that we can really focus on nutrition. I really want you to be quite frank, to focus on your nutrition every single day of your life, because you guys, it is all that we have that feeds us, that nourishes us, and that provides nutrients for every single physiological, hormonal, biochemical process in our entire bodies. And as you know, I have a degree in agriculture, right? My first degree is in agriculture. I have horses. I raise cattle. There is no other species that we don't recognize and acknowledge the value of nutrition and supplementation. We supplement our soil. We supplement our dogs, our cats. We feed and nourish. We look at, what we're feeding our horses. I always say it's so interesting. My daughter's a barrel racer, and hopefully they're racing, for 14 seconds or less. But they spend hours and hours every day analyzing for performance. Are they feeding the right lipids and fatty acids? Do they have enough complex carbohydrates? Do they have enough protein? They're balancing their teeth, all of these things. Their chiropractor, all of these things, because we know that nutrition enhances performance. We know that nutrition has longevity. It makes us live longer. Animals, cats and dogs that are fed well, they can be partners in our life for many, many more years. I just want you to think about that when you talk about yourself or when you think about yourself. So that's why we do so many challenges, you guys, is so that we can actually be a force of support during those times. So we have our first fast metabolism diet challenge that starts in February. February is always the time that with my clients, we start kind of talking about labs. So I pace things out throughout the year, and I say, okay, if we kind of drink from a fire hydrant, sometimes we can drown ourselves in too much, especially if you're struggling at all with either weight loss, fatigue, lack of energy, anxiety, depression, any of those things that are going on that leave that blanket or that layer of heaviness over the body, right? It is more difficult if we just bombard you. So that's why we're doing these quarterly, and I want to make sure that you guys are here every quarter, okay? And it'll grow on one will grow on the other, but I'll always make sure that we kind of revisit things. So I want you to be in the challenges. We have 1 in January, we have 2 in February, 2 in March, and 2 in April. That will get us through Q1 together, or the first quarter of the year. My goal is that we have all kinds of data and information. We're making very strategic food moves, right? We're getting more and more savvy. We're putting more and more power on our plate every day. Then I also want you guys to make sure that you're really active in the member section. We're going to start those Sunday wellness check-ins, okay? And I'm going to have some, things for you to do on Sunday. If you don't get to it until Monday, that's no problem. That's completely fine. And if you're struggling and you go, gosh, I've missed 4 or 5 Mondays in a row, I want you to reach out and let us know. As you guys know, we started Fast Metabolism University, and we have been certifying and training coaches. They are here for you. They are an incredible group of human beings. We are meeting regularly. We are talking about the most interesting cases. And if you're not ready to see a coach, but you want to volunteer to be one of our learning experiences, now you are videoed. So I always tell people that, And we talk about everything, as you can imagine, if it has anything to do with me, right? And also, if you feel like you can be part of the team of helping people and you want to become a coach, reach out to us, let us know. I think our coaches that are here and our coaches are more than happy to express. It's been a very amazing experience. I need more help. We have a lot of opportunity. And I'm sure we could buddy you up with a coach that would love to talk to you about, kind of their personal experience. We are working on booking another cruise. We're trying to secure some spots. It's been very interesting because actually cruising is big right now, again, as we're all able to maybe travel and come together. And so we're just trying to secure the spots, but I will keep you guys posted for sure. Okay. So if I can ask you guys a favor tonight, and I promise I'll be on there, I would love you to go back into the member section tonight, please, and post what the best takeaway was for you. And post, please, what you'd like to see in our next quarterly meeting. What I'd like to plan for this year is I'd like to do quarterly wellness assessments, right? Where we go in and we say, okay, it's time to fill this out. And this is just our first. You're going to get savvy with your labs. If you get your labs run, we can have some conversations about those. If you're doing the fast metabolism diet, metabolism revolution, one of the intensives, that's where we're going to have a little bit more of this, dialogue going on in the member section. Katie, Stacy, myself, Elin, John, all of us are always in there. We're there for you. But if you could post tonight, let me know, what was your biggest takeaway and what you'd like to see in our next quarterly session. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to start to set up webinars that will be, I can't commit to every month, guys, but will probably also be quarterly, where we're going to do supplement education. For years, I have taught about supplement and supplementation. As you guys know, it's a cornerstone of my health. Again, getting back into the animal world and the animal space, I formulated for the zoos, I formulated in animal feed, I formulated in the soil and seed industry. And so supplement and supplementation is a very, very complex conversation, but I do want to start having that with you. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of things that are going on kind of in the supplement space right now that I want to make sure us as a community are really, really, really well educated and really informed. So I really enjoyed spending the time with you guys. If you wouldn't mind going into the member section, letting me know what was your best takeaway tonight. This is just the beginning. We're starting to scratch the surface, but this is what I do with my clients in our visits, right? We come together and we start to go kind of, where are you at? What's going on? Make sure you're signed up for the fast metabolism and the 10-day cleanse. Those are going to give you a lot of support, a lot of data, a lot of meal maps, a lot of grocery lists, tools that you need to get started and be really solid in your nutrition this year. And then we're going to start these Sunday check-ins and check on your progress and start to evolve your relationship with your nutritionist. All right, guys, I hope you have an amazing evening. As always, I just cherish the time we have together, and I am so looking forward to this year. It's going to be incredible, and we're going to have a lot of great life-changing experiences together. Good night, guys.